just keep stacking days. Just keep stacking days. As long as you keep stacking days, I promise you, you will see the change. But my coach used to always say, everything that you want is on the other side of hard.
Seriously, and all of the things I thought I would actually see on the internet this year, a Jordan Poole stacking the days together workout video certainly wasn't on the list. But when you actually look at how well Jordan Poole has been playing so far this year, I have to say, that video doesn't lie. On today's NBA Rundown, we're going to talk about the comeback tour that Jordan Poole is actually on. I've got the stats to absolutely back it up. The fact is, Jordan Poole is suddenly looking like a top player in the NBA once again. Now, I don't want to get out of control here and say he's like a top 10 player in the NBA, but he certainly is playing better. In fact, he's playing better than he ever has as a player in the NBA. We are going to talk tonight on the NBA Rundown about the rise, the fall, and if you will, the American dream, the rise again story of one Jordan Poole. We've got a Steve Kerr video as well, which we'll talk about Jordan Poole a little bit. And we'll hear from Jordan Poole from a recent post-game press conference. I've got all of that and a whole lot more coming up on the NBA Rundown tonight. New to the channel, seriously, where the hell have you been? Please go ahead and subscribe and, of course, like this video. Also, check out our audio version on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other podcast platforms that you get your podcasts from. All right, so in the interest of full disclosure, just so everybody knows, I'm actually based up in the Bay Area. So I have seen Jordan Poole since he very laced up his shoes with the Golden State Warriors. I've experienced the rise of Jordan Poole. And when we talk about where Jordan Poole is today versus where he was when he got shipped off to, if you will, the NBA's very own version of Siberia, the Washington Wizards, which, of course, I often joke about as being the team in the NBA that is in danger of being relegated from the association. Now, of course, we know that's actually not going to happen, but Jordan Poole was sent off to the Washington Wizards. It's basically where all players go to end up, if you will, in a timeout. It's like if your kid is misbehaving so bad, you put them in the room and then you tell them they're in timeout. Well, Jordan Poole got his own version of an adult timeout with the Washington Wizards last year and experienced quite a bit of losing during that time. Jordan Poole, as we know, has absolutely, at this point, turned things around. We're going to get into his stats in just a second, but first I wanted to relive, if you will, a little bit of the downfall of Jordan Poole. This happens, of course, when Draymond Green actually punches him out. Now, the big difference between Jordan Poole then and Jordan Poole today is the M word, which is maturity. And you can see it in his game. You can hear it in his post-game press conferences. And you can hear the stories about what Jordan Poole did during the offseason with his teammates, getting everybody together to actually work out together. Look, at the end of the day, Jordan Poole is truly on a comeback tour in the NBA. And while he's down in the last game with a left hip flexor injury and looks like he's going to miss Tuesday night's game as well, I'm sure he'll be back in a couple of games and continue on the pace that he's been on. Currently, Jordan Poole's actually averaging 21.2 points a game. His three-point percentage, and this is important, is 44.3% right now. If you compare that to last year when he got to the NBA's version of Siberia, he was averaging 32.6% from the three-point arc and actually just scored 17.5 points a game. All right, to the Steve Kerr video we go. Now, this is Steve Kerr another podcast. You'll notice it's Dan Lebatard. He's on the Dan Lebatard podcast. Dan asked Steve Kerr, "What's the most upset you've ever been with Draymond Green?"
What's the first one that jumps to mind?
I think that for sure the Jordan Poole incident. Draymond and I are a lot alike in many ways. People probably wouldn't see that from the outside, but we're both kind of maniacal competitors, and we've lost our minds with each other during games over whatever, disagreements about strategy. But he crossed the line with Jordan, and he knows it. He knew it immediately. And it made that season incredibly difficult for everybody. And
so I think one of the biggest issues wasn't necessarily just the punch that upset Jordan Poole. It's the very fact that it actually got leaked and it was embarrassing and everybody got to see it. And I've never seen an NBA player actually get punched by his own teammate and actually turn into the actual villain. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Jordan Poole and the Golden State Warriors the last year he was actually there. Anything that went wrong with the Warriors that particular year was JP's fault, right or wrong. So at the end of the day, now that Jordan Poole has officially moved on to the Washington Wizards, we talked about his stats and how they're significantly better now than they've ever been throughout his career. I mean, Jordan Poole during his heyday with the Golden State Warriors in the year in which the Warriors actually won their championship, his three-point shooting percentage was 36% versus what he's doing today, which is over 44% from the three-point arc. Jordan Poole, the video I played of him actually stacking days of hard work together is precisely what Jordan Poole has actually been doing. A lot of times in the world of sports, we hear about players talking about, I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to put the work in. And yet you never actually see the real results of that work being put in, generally because they're lying. In this particular case, that doesn't appear to be the truth. The truth of the matter is, Jordan Poole wanted to get back to the player he was before he got shipped off to the Washington Wizards, which I think he absolutely has. Okay, a short clip. This is a super short clip now for you of Jordan Poole from a recent post-game interview.
That's just what it takes to win games, to be on a winning team, win an organization, and we're just kind of building habits to put us there. And it's a long season, and I think we're not really focused on moral victory. So just finding ways to continue to keep building foundation, getting better offensively, getting better defensively, finding ways to stay connected, teaching the young guys, having them continue to learn, but also taking every game seriously, and using that as another opportunity to grow as a team.
So look, that was Jordan Poole in a post-game interview, and the word that absolutely comes to mind as I'm watching that, as he discusses, helping bring young players along, and also talks about trying to make the team better, and how he also talks about actually putting in some hard work. I think the word that definitely comes to mind when I hear that is maturity, and I think what we see with Jordan Poole on the court right now is just that. Now, the Washington Wizards are currently 2-13 and have secured the worst record in the association at this point. In fact, I don't think anybody's lost more games in a row than the Washington Wizards have. Yes, that is true. They've lost 11 games in a row. So while Jordan Poole is certainly playing a lot better this year and is having an actual career year, go look at the stats. This is better. He's having a better season all around than the year he actually won the championship with the Golden State Warriors. And that's saying a lot for a guy who was absolutely looked at as a villain around the National Basketball Association. And beyond being looked at as a villain, he was also sort of looked at as like a fool in the NBA as well last season when he was with the Washington Wizards in his first year. There was countless videos of Jordan Poole doing things wrong for the Washington Wizards last year. But Jordan Poole, as he said in that video, has put in the hard work. He stacked hard days together, and you can absolutely tell with the maturity off the court and the maturity on the court, Jordan Poole has turned himself into basically a 21 and 5 being assists a game guard in the NBA. All I can say at this point is I absolutely love a great comeback. And if you're Jordan Poole and you're stacking these kinds of numbers together and you're showing that kind of maturity, maybe at some point your dad or brother or general manager of the Washington Wizards is going to pull you out of timeout and actually ship you off to a contender, because that is really where Jordan Poole deserves to be. All right, that is it for tonight's NBA Rundown. I'd love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on Jordan Poole. For the NBA Rundown, I am Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
This is Phoenix.